Ah, the forest. I made it 45 kilometers from anyone else, from any town. Oh, no, that didn't work out. So yes, some dramas occurred an hour before my flight. I won't go into the details because it's going to be shown on my travel channel, English Refugee. It won't be shown for a couple of months because we've got lots of Bali footage to show first. But yeah, if you are interested in what happened, it will make quite a dramatic episode, and you'll know which one it is because it will have a dramatic title about plans going wrong. Yeah, so what do you do when the rug gets pulled from under your feet and you think you've got a long-term place to stay and you feel like it's very aligned, you've even shaved your head for it, thinking I'm not going to leave the forest for a number of months and I'm just going to completely surrender to nature. And it feels like your body is ready for it. It feels like everything that happened in the last place you were in, Ubud, Bali, was building up to it. I had a beautiful apartment. It was really quiet and really peaceful. And then suddenly it got noisy the last 2 weeks before. And obviously I'm always trying to make something of things. My arm's getting tired, but I want to focus on the trees. Why did I say that? Lose my train of thought. What are these? What on earth is that? That doesn't look natural. Oh, it's like eggs or something, isn't it? Wow. How interesting. So yeah, I always try and see the signs in things. It could just be a coping mechanism, or I could be very spiritual. I'm not sure which one. And it really felt like the universe was building me up to this time in this forest and this time of surrender. And I even got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna quit tobacco. I'm gonna quit because I realised that I'd bought a kilo of tobacco. In fact, no one's seen that yet. Because the country I was going to, tobacco is very expensive. Like I say, I'm gonna be far away from any shops. And then with that comes coffee. And I was really at a point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna just release my last coping mechanisms, or my last, damaging, and I'm saying this from my perspective, damaging ways of living that are basically me avoiding feeling. So, all my life I've avoided feeling, whether through the external, through trying to make money, through drinking, partying, shagging, all that throughout my 20s. And then throughout my 30s, letting go of that, but then really getting big. I mean, I smoked ganja every day from the age of 18. But I got to a point where I'm 40 now and I haven't smoked for 10 weeks. And I got to a point where I thought that I would always smoke ganja, and then haven't done for 10 weeks. So I don't want to go down that tangent because that's going to be another video. How it is after 10 weeks, I've had some more feelings and realizations around it. That'll be the next video, I think. What I really want to speak about in this video, if I can manage to stay on point, is acceptance, and just trying to go with the flow. So I thought I was going to be in the forest. Everything was pointing at that is how it should be, and that was going to be a really powerful time. I was staying with a really amazing woman, and it felt like there was going to be some healing of a feminine wound within that. And suddenly I'm not going, and I have to book a last minute flight somewhere else, and suddenly I'm in a city, like the complete opposite, a noisy hotel room in a noisy city, and I'm just in a state of shock, like, wow, how did this happen? But I seem to manage to have just accepted it, to have just been like, okay, it is what it is. That's what I kept saying to myself. It is what it is. And this change in events led to me having to sleep in the airport for the night. And, a really exhausting day of 36 hours travel, of which 20 were just in this bloody airport. Sleeping on a cardboard box. It was... You know what? It was okay. You know, this is what I'm noticing, and this is what I want to try and speak into. But, you know, before I would get so like, this has happened, what am I gonna do? Mom, this has happened, and like try and put the upset onto my mum so she could take some of it away from me, or there was something around because of the dynamic we had, you know, growing up and into my adulthood, of, you know, a very loving mother, a very good mother, but a mother who would try and fix everything, try and take every problem away from you. So really, up until the age of 30, I had this dynamic of like, Mom, this has happened. And it was very selfish. It was like wanting to bring her into the pain with me. I guess it felt like it took some of my pain away, but I'm not sure it did. I think it was more just like somebody else is experiencing this with me. And then I went through a big thing around the age of 30 of really seeing that and having to put a lot of barriers in. Basically not speaking for 2 years. And it wasn't like, I mean, it might have come up a little bit like that story. It was when, you know, when you first realise inner child work, basically, and childhood trauma. And that's not to say I didn't have a really beautiful childhood where my parents tried the absolute best, but just being brought up unconsciously in this society will create a lot of trauma. So it was the first time I was realising that, so there might have been a bit of unjustified blame and anger at the time. But, you know, basically not speaking to my parents for a couple of years while I worked through all this. And but a lot of it was putting in those barriers in order to break this dynamic with my mother, because it wasn't healthy for either of us, and it was not the point of this video at all. What was the point of this video? Acceptance. So I went into that whole mother tangent because I was speaking about how I used to react, how I used to make it a drama. This gorgeous lagoon. Fantastic. You know, things work out. I mean, I guess that's what the point of this video is, ultimately. But yeah. You know, moving from drama, reaction, why is this happening to me, to like, oh, okay, what is this here to teach me? And I'm even letting go of that. Like, I still think that is a powerful way to work through these things and process these things. Awesome. But I don't know if this is just this phase I'm going through that I described in the last video of sort of nothingness. But I'm even letting go of like, oh, what are the signs here? What is this here to teach me? Even though I do think that is the best way to embrace this life. But yeah, just really getting into a, like, I guess a presence, just a presence, like, oh, okay, this is what's occurring, this is what's happening. Okay, it is what it is. So yesterday I'm in a noisy hotel room in a big city, which is obviously noisy. A city that loads of people rave about, loads of expats live there. And I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. And when noise came up, I sort of realised how irritated I'd been allowing myself to get in my room in Bali, because suddenly I guess because the room in Bali started off without noise, so I got very irritated when there was noise. But realising how you know, how much of an expectation I had, and how, what's the word, not arrogance, I can't think of a word, but how overly irritated I had got by this noise that was happening. And, you know, expectation was a better word, but like how I'd had an unrealistic expectation. And yeah, we'll just stick with expectation because the other word isn't, oh my god. Whoa. That's one of the most beautiful birds. Okay, now I'm exaggerating. I have a tendency to exaggerate in the moment. That bird was incredible. It had a bright blue bottom half and a brown top half. I didn't bother trying to film it because it was already pretty much gone, but that's incredible. Let me regain my thoughts. Yeah, so it actually felt really healthy today because when I woke up in that hotel room and there was quite a bit of noise, and yeah, I could feel the irritation and be like, oh my god, how have I ended up here? But also just like, it is what it is, and it's okay, you know. And then comparing it to the night that I just had in the airport, sleeping on cardboard underneath bright lights and lots of noise, and being like, I'm in a bed, you know, this is great. And then I've moved out of the city to a place where no tourists would ever come, and now I'm walking through trees and it's so quiet. I'm in a new hotel room that is just silent. I mean, I've only been here 3 hours, it could change, but it's yeah, it's very different. I'm not in a city, and it's a small hotel, so it can't possibly be as noisy as the last one. And there's just like you know, this video hasn't really been what I intended it to. I mean, I don't really know what it was meant to be, but it was meant to be something around just not going into the emotions as much. So like, I'm really happy with this space, and it is really important to have the right space. But at the same time, I'm not like, it's not that big a deal. Like, I'm just really starting to surrender to what is and to go with the flow much more. And that feels like huge progress for somebody who has been so neurotic and so dramatic. Yeah, there's another tangent I want to go down, but I'll save that for another video. So yeah, I guess I'm trying, I don't think I've really done it, but I was trying to do a video about just, it is what it is. And just accepting, you know, whatever life throws at you, it just is what it is. And not getting caught up in the anger, the drama, the emotion, like I used to. It really does feel like a new way. And I'm sure I'll get tested more, and I'm sure there will be times where I get caught up in it again, but there's definitely a big shift. And it comes almost, you know, this is what I spoke about in the last video, and I think this is the shift. You know, it comes almost as a boredom, just as a nothingness. Like, I don't really want to do anything. Which obviously, as I'm going through that shift, feels very strange. Feels like, you know, because I used to get a lot of joy from pushing, and it wasn't really joy, it was escapism, but it felt like, you know, progress felt good. So in 3 days I can post on Not Today Satan again, and I just don't know. I just don't know if I can. Like, I'm really enjoying not looking at Twitter, and don't get me wrong, there are moments where I still get caught in doom scrolling, but it makes me feel awful. It makes me feel awful. Ollie Dobson, I think he's called, a guy in a pretty similar situation to me, does similar-ish videos to me. Just did a video about how he blew up talking about politics, and he's way more I'm not sure intelligent is the right word, knowledgeable on the political situation than I am, and he really did blow up. And he's just saying he just doesn't want to touch it anymore because it makes him feel shit, and I really resonated with it. So I can notice this part of me that panics about money and thinks I need to get Not Today Satan going again, and then this other part of me that just knows that by doing that it's not allowing what I'm really aligned with to grow. And it's not trusting that that I'm meant to just talk and just share and not be reactionary and not feed into all the fear. And that's not to say that what's happening in the UK isn't awful and isn't very real. Of course it is. But you know, I don't need to add to it, because ultimately it doesn't really get anyone anywhere. I don't think there's anyone woke, let's say, watching my content and going, oh wow, like I'm going to change how I think. You know, it just doesn't happen anymore. I think those lines are drawn, and I mean, at the same time there is an awakening happening. But yeah, just this lack of wanting to push and much more just wanting to be. But then of course there is the practicality of having to earn a living. So it's like, it's not this constant, yeah, it's not actually. I was going to say it's like this constant to and fro and battle, and there is that, you know, there is that, like, one day I'm like, I'm going to focus on English Refugee and I'm going to focus on Broken Mirror. And then the next day I'm like, nah, F that, it's all about Not Today Satan. Like, that has been going on, but it's much more than noticing than a, like, really being in it. And today I feel very much like, oh no, it's English Refugee and Broken Mirror. We'll see what I decide to do, but yeah, the idea of like doing Not Today Satan and growing it, and like I can still feel like, oh god, to have 100,000 subscribers, that would be so exciting. But also there's just a knowing that it isn't really what I'm meant to be doing anymore, I don't think. And to do it would be like out of fear and out of wanting to be something. I'm desperate to be something. And I feel like that part of me is just ebbing away. And maybe it's a defense mechanism because my views are really crap at the moment on this channel and English Refugee, like maybe. But it feels really healthy. It feels very accepting and just, it just allows like an emptiness and a space inside. Oh, I think that's enough for this video. I mean, I'm not really sure it had a point. Maybe it will end up being about, maybe the title will end up being about inner child trauma and dynamics with a mother. I wasn't expecting that one to come up. But yeah, really just a ramble. So if you did get to the end, I really appreciate it. Let me know if it was worthwhile in the comments. I don't really have, you know, when I was doing this channel before, you know, I was like believing I was some sort of teacher, believing I was really wise, and like each video I felt had a point, but that's just gone as well. Like everything's just gone, everything is falling away, like literally everything. Yeah, I'm 5 or 6 days no fap at the moment without even meaning to. Like, it's not like now that I'm there, I'm like, oh okay, I think I might make this a thing and commit to this. But like the urge just hasn't been there. Like everything is falling away. The only thing that's still really strong in terms of escaping oneself is the coffee and the cigarette roll up, I should say. And yeah, I still really enjoy that escapism. So yeah, let me know if this video was worthwhile in the comments, because right now I feel like it's all I can do. I'm assuming, and it could be just coming from the ego, but I'm assuming this transition I'm going through is going to lead to someone who really does have something to say. I hope so. But again, this is probably just coming from the ego because he was loving that part of himself. And loving seeing things grow. So I think that's still alive in me. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's never going to come back. And maybe my YouTube is over. But I'm assuming something is going to come through from this which will be worthwhile saying. Or maybe this was worthwhile saying. So if it was, please do let me know, because once I turn the camera on and start talking, as you can see, it's no problem. But I'm not sure if there's any point to it. I'm not sure anyone's getting anything from this, so I'm not sure it was any good. So if it was, please do let me know in the comments, because it will mean I'll do another one tomorrow. Because I just don't know. I don't know if I'm meant to be doing this anymore. I really don't. An English Refugee as well. Like, am I supposed to be doing that? Like, you know, I wonder, as you'll see in on English Refugee. I think I will get to a point where I post this. I'm still recording pretty much every day. But as I'm recording, I'm like, am I ever going to share this, or am I about to stop? Like, I just don't know. But if not, I will definitely share it on this channel, because it is really interesting what happened. But I wonder if it was my YouTube, you know, that caused this situation. So it's like, is it worth it? But then I have to earn a living somehow. Not that I am earning a living, you know, that's the other thing. I'm not earning a living from YouTube at the moment. I'm earning some pocket money, which helps. But if it carries on as it is, I will have to get an online job. Yeah, I've still got a couple of months before I have to do that. So, you know, I'm trusting that something is going to happen, whether it's YouTube or something else, but who knows, maybe it's not. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of that. I'd really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate it if you can like the video as well, if I am to continue with this, or, you know, if I am to ever get to a point where I can earn a living from it. That really helps. So yeah, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. I think I'll see you soon, depending on your feedback on this video.